Welcome to the pathology class. So today we are going to deal with the chapter of ischemia. The content or the parts we are going to study in the ischemia as per the your curriculum is concerned is definition, etiology, factors determining severity of ischemic injury and the effect of ischemia. So going one by one. First, that is the definition. As the definition goes of ischemia, it is defined as a deficient blood supply to part of a tissue. So here the blood supply is deficient. It is not as per the requirement by any reason. Okay. So the etiological factor we are studying further. So the cessation of blood may be a complete one or it may be a partial one. So it is called as a complete ischemia or a partial ischemia. So what are the etiological factor as per the ischemia is concerned, right? So here the causes or the etiological factors are uh, depend upon the vasculature, or you can say the angiology is inward, right? So the first cause is in the heart. Okay, so what exactly occurs in the heart? Okay, inadequate cardiac output resulting from heart block. Okay, so there is a inadequate output is there. Why this is inadequate cardiac output is there? Because of the heart block. So the ventricular arrest and fibrillation from various causes may cause hypoxic injury to brain. So whatever the causes are there, right? The heart block occurs, right? The output is reduced, and the effects we see in the brain, right? What are the effects we see in the brain because of this cause? Number one, if the arrest continues for 15 seconds, we see the consciousness is lost. The person's consciousness lost if the effect is of 15 seconds. If the condition lasts for more than 4 minutes, irreversible ischemic damage to the brain occurs. So if that same continue for 4 minutes, then we see the irreversible injuries or damage occurs at the brain level. Okay. Then last, if it prolonged for more than 8 minutes, if suppose that the injury or the ischemia, right, lasts for more than 8 minutes, then the death is inevitable. So the death can occur of a person, right? So this ischemia from the minute, it can produce the drastical changes like a death of person. Okay, going for the next cause, that is the causes in the arteries. What are the causes in the arteries? Okay. The commonest and most important cause of ischemia due to obstruction in the arterial supply. Okay, so if any obstruction occur at the arterial supply, definitely the blood is not able to reach to the tissue level, okay, where it has to supply. So that's what the definition says of the ischemia, that is a deficient blood supply block. Okay, this is the major cause, you can say, whenever the arteries are got blocked or there will be a obstruction takes place by any reason. Either it is be stricture, either it will be uh, atherosclerosis, either it will be a thrombosis is formed, any reason. Okay, so it has the deficient blood supply. So first in arteries we go is a luminal occlusion of the artery. As I said, it is a occlusion takes place due to either thrombosis or embolism. Next, in the arterial wall, right? In the arterial wall, what happens? It may be a vasospasm, hypothermia, ergotism, atherosclerosis, polyarteritis nodosa, thromboangiitis obliterans, and severe vessel wall. Severe vessel wall. So these are the causes where we have in the arterial wall to have the deficient blood supply. the obstruction takes place. Okay. Next, we have the outside pressure on the artery. So we have seen here is inside, number 1 and number 2, right? And now we are trying to know if there is a pressure from outside to the arteries itself, right? Where the pressure, because of the pressure, it has a obstruction. So what are those? Like the ligature, tourniquet, tight plaster bandage, and it may be a torsion. Okay, even the tight bandage, right? So you must be feel like somebody is holding your hand very tightly and you have a sensation of numb at the periphery, right? Okay, take an example of, even you take an example of when you are tying a cuff of a BP apparatus, sphygmomanometer, right, to record a blood pressure. If you raise the pressure for a longer time, patient complains of numbness and pain at the periphery. It is because of obstruction to the arteries, right? And the person is receiving the ischemic attacks at the periphery, because of which he is having that numbness and pain, right? We always suggest not to hold for a longer time. It has to be released as early as possible. Okay. The reason behind is we don't want the person goes for a severe type of ischemic attacks at the periphery. Okay, going for the third cause, which are in the veins. Okay, so blockage of venous drainage may lead to engorgement and obstruction to the arterial blood supply, resulting in ischemia. Right. So in the engorgement of the venous returns is deficient. If there is a venous return deficient is there, a definition definitely the obstruction to arterial blood supply will take place, right, and causes the ischemic attack. So first is luminal occlusion of vein. So here it may be because of thrombosis of mesenteric vein and cavernous sinus thrombosis. Causes in the vessel wall of the vein, that is varicose vein of the leg. Next, we have the outside pressure on the veins. It may be because of strangulated hernia, intussusception, or ulvolus. Moving to the next cause of the ischemia, that is causes in the microvasculature. Ischemia may result from occlusion of arterioles, capillaries, and venules. The causes for this microvasculature are: first is in luminal occlusion in microvasculatures. What happens? So by the red cells, for example, in case of sickle cell anemia, okay, red cell parasitized by malaria, acquired hemolytic anemia, slugging of the blood. Okay. Next we have is the white blood cells, that is in case of myeloid leukemia. By fibrin, we have defibrination syndrome. Because of that, we may have occlusion at microvasculature. So it may be a fat embolism in decompression sickness also. So causes in the microvascular wall, what we have is vasculitis, that is polyarthritis nodosa. We see very prominently even in septicemia. Then we have very commonest cause, that is a frostbite injury. Or frostbite injury is the person exposed to the extreme cold, right? So we have occlusion of the vessel wall. Then we have the last one, that is outside pressure on microvasculature. Commonly we see in bed sores. Okay, so the person who is lying for longer time because of some chronic illnesses, right? He is bedridden person. Okay, so we see the back is having some of the changes or some of the wounds that we call as a bed sores. Okay. So that may be the because of the bed sores. We can have pressure on the microvasculature, and in turn it may lead or it may land into a ischemic attack. Next, next part, after the causes, we are trying to know about the what are the factors which are determining a severity of ischemic injury. How we say that where exactly the ischemia is more or where the ischemia is at the lower level, right? So These factors are, first is the anatomical pattern. What anatomic pattern we are talking about? It is the anatomical pattern of arteries. So here we are dealing mainly with the arteries. Okay. So the anatomical pattern, extent of injury by ischemia depend upon the anatomical pattern of blood arterial blood supply of the organ or tissue. Okay, so we have four different patterns of arterial blood supply. So number one, that is single artery supply without anastomosis. So here we have only one artery supplying to the that particular organ without any anastomosis or any other branches of that particular artery. So what exactly occurs? If suppose there is a occlusion of such vessels occurs, so definitely only one artery supply is there without any other arterial supply. So you can understand that how far the damage can occur, because it doesn't have any other supply to reback with the backup system for the blood supply, right? So definitely it has a drastical changes. So the severity of ischemic injury is more here. So for example, in case of central artery of the retina and intralobular arteries of the kidney. Some examples I have given here, maybe more also, right? So in such condition, the changes or the severity we see is the at the peak level, because only one artery is supplying and that also got injured or occluded. So definitely the ischemic level is at the higher level. Number second, that is the pattern, that is single artery supply with rich anastomosis. Here, although there is a single artery supply is there, but we can see the anastomosis which is present is very rich. Okay, so what exactly? So here there is a ischemic attack, but not so severe because it has an anastomosis. So the circulation or the blood supply can be managed by the anastomosis, but at the lower level. So what are this? Arterial supply to some organs has rich intra-arterial anastomosis, so that the blockage of one vessel can re-establish blood supply by passing the blocked arteries branch, and hence the infarction is less common in such circumstances. So as I said, the infarction or the ischemia is very less. Okay, so it can bring back the normality very early because of the anastomotic arteries. So some examples we have given, like superior mesenteric artery supplying blood to the small intestine, then inferior artery supplying blood to distal colon, and artery supplied to the stomach by three separate vessels derived from coeliac axis. Next pattern, that is parallel artery supply. So if there is a parallel artery supply also, we see not much of the changes. Okay, ischemic attack, sorry. So what exactly it is? The blood supply to the some organs and tissues such that the vitality of the tissue is maintained by the alternate blood supply in cases of occlusion of one. So here there is much same as anastomotic artery. We don't feel much of the severe ischemic changes because it has a parallel supply of blood to that particular tissue. For example, blood supply to the brain in the region of circle of Willis. Okay. Then arterial supply for forearm by the radial and ulnar artery. Okay. So it has a parallel supply, a second supply for that particular organ or tissue. Fine. Next, we have is a double blood supply. So the effect of occlusion onset of vessel is modified if an organ has dual blood supply. Okay. For example, lungs are perfused by bronchial circulation as well as by pulmonary artery branches, and liver is supplied by both portal circulation and hepatic artery circulation. So we have a double supply. Okay, so it can have some acclimatization process where the supply is increased by, if one is uploaded, a second will take a lead and it will supply. But the ischemic attack we don't see in the much deeper sense. So after anatomic pattern, we have second factor which is determining the severity of ischemia, that is general and cardiovascular status. So what is exactly the status and generally the status of that particular individual is there. Okay, fine. So here we are talking about a particular individual. So then the general status of an individual as regard cardiovascular function is an important determining to assess the effect of ischemia. So it is very important to know the what exactly the cardiovascular functions are there in that particular person who is receiving the ischemic attack or who can receive the ischemic attack. So some of the factors which render the tissue more vulnerable to effect of the ischemia. Right. So these are the factors where it can land up into a drastical changes of ischemia. What are those? One is a person, if a person is having anemia, they are very prone to go for the ischemic attacks, lowered oxygen supply of the blood in case of hypoxemia, that is hypoxemia, then senility with marked coronary atherosclerosis, cardiac failure, blood loss, and shock. So those persons are having these things are very prone to go for ischemic attacks. Next factor to determine severity of ischemia, that is the type of tissue affected. Which type of tissue is affected is very important to know that what all the how much severity is there at that particular organ or tissue. So the vulnerability of tissue of the body to the effect of ischemia is variable. So it is variable from tissue to tissue. So the mesenchymal tissue are quite resistant to the effect of ischemia as compared to parenchymal cells of the organ. So here, so mesenchymal tissue are resistant to effect of ischemia as compared to parenchymal tissues. So for example, some of the tissues which receive the ischemic attacks like brain, cerebral cortical neurons in particular, right? So they are having most vulnerable for the ischemic attack, right? Brain, heart, that is myocardial cells, and kidney. In kidney, especially the epithelial cells of proximal convoluted tubules. So here the severity of ischemia is at peak, or you can say more severity we see in this particular part. Next factors, next last two factors we are discussing, that is the rapidity of development, how rapidly the ischemia is developed. If sudden vascular obstruction results in more severe effect of ischemia, if suppose the ischemia or the sudden obstruction takes place, the effect is very severe. Okay, if it is a gradual, so definitely it doesn't have much effect to the tissues, right? Because till the occlusion start, the obstruction start, we have a time for collateral development. So the body understand that it is not serving more, so definitely it has a mechanism to have a second thought of developing another vasculature. New vascularization may take place, or it can give the charge to anastomosis or a parallel supply and maintain the blood supply for that particular tissue. So here main thing is, if there is a sudden obstruction is there, so definitely the effects are very severe. Next is degree of vascular occlusion. So this is also very important. How much severe the occlusion is, also has impact on that tissue. So suppose if there is a complete vascular obstruction is there, so definitely the effects, the ischemia or the ischemic injury is more severe than the if there is a partial occlusion, right? So suppose the complete vessels are occluded, so it means there is not a bit of blood supply is taking place to the tissue. So definitely the tissue receives the more ischemia than the person which is having half or 75% or 80% also, because 20% is their supply is there. So it can be maintaining the at least 20% of functioning of the tissue. If suppose there is a 100% occlusion, so definitely the 100% functioning is hampered. Okay, these are the factors which can determine the severity of the ischemic injuries. Next, going for the effects of ischemia. What are the effects will have of ischemia on a human body or human tissue? So the effects range from there is a no change to death of person or a sudden death. Okay, fine. So going for one by one, no effect on the tissue. What are those? If if the collateral channels develop adequately so that the effect of ischemia fails to occur. So if there is a collateral channels are there, definitely the ischemia is not go for a severity and it will be restricted where it is. So the ischemic effect will not develop. Next, it may have functional disturbances. This results when collateral channels are able to supply blood during normal activity, but supply is not adequate to withstand the effect of exertion. The examples of angina pectoris and intermittent claudication. So here there is a circulation is there, but it is not to the requirement of the tissue. So they are supplying, but there is a not as per the requirement of tissue. Suppose a tissue need 5 ml of blood supply. Now because of obstruction it is supplying only 2 ml. So 3 ml is lacking. So functions will be not as of the 5 ml, it is giving you the 2 ml functions only. So the functions of that particular tissues are at the reduction level. It is not performing as good as when they are receiving the 5 ml. Next we have is cellular changes. So where we can see these cellular changes. So these cellular changes are partial and gradual ischemia may produce cellular changes such as Claudius swelling. Remembering the chapter of cell injury, we are talking about Claudius swelling, fat changes, ischemic atrophy and replacement, fibrosis. Okay, so these are some cellular changes can occur because of ischemia. When we are talking about the cause of hypoxia, cell injury, right? So that time we have discussed about this. Infection results when the deprivation of blood supply is complete so as to cause necrosis of tissue affected. This also we have dealt in a chapter of cell injury. So infection may result because of deprivation of blood supply. That is a complete one where it will cause necrosis of the tissue. Last one, the severe one, that is sudden death can occur. The cause of death from ischemia is usually myocardial and cerebral infarction. So the person may go into end of the life, or you can say death of a person can occur in ischemia mainly because of a myocardial infarction or the ischemia or cerebral infarction. So the person may end up in death because of a simple ischemia. So this is all about today's chapter, that is ischemia. Hope you have understood the concept of ischemia. Thank you.